Okay, do we have a roll call?
Chair Duarte,
Present.
Commissioner Frometta,
Present.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Present. I think you said Spathos.
Spathopoulos, and Commissioner Dominguez is absent, I apologize, and Commissioner Owens.
We can't hear Mary.
Okay, I'll try again. Chair Duarte,
Present.
Vice Chair Frometta,
Present.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Present.
Dominguez is absent, Commissioner Owens.
Present.
Okay, now is the time for any planning commissioner announcements, requests for future agenda items, or reports on meetings and conferences. Commissioner Owens,
None, Mr. Doherty.
Commissioner Spatos,
None. Thank you.
Vice Chair Frometta,
None, Mr. Chair.
and I have none at this time. Now's the time for presentations. Does the Director of Community Development, Mr. Schindler, have any presentations for tonight?
No presentations tonight, Chairman Duarte.
Okay. Now, report on city council actions. Does the Community Development Director Schindler have, are there any community council actions to report?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Duarte. Two cogent items. About a year ago, the Planning Commission approved a new cell tower location at the city's Public Works Yard off of Bellflower Boulevard, adjacent to Independence Park. The City Council approved a related lease agreement for that cell tower site at that location. Secondly, staff applied for a grant from the state Housing and Community Development Department to assist with the cost for our future housing element update. A housing element update is an update of our housing stock, future housing development, potential capacity. It's a 15-month study, will consist of presentations to the Planning Commission and ultimately approval and recommendation from the Planning Commission to the City Council. We hope to start that work in July of this year and conclude it in August of next year. And that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schindler. Now is the time for public hearing items. First item is PLN-19-00191. Director Schindler, can you present staff presenting this item?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Duarte. Tonight we have Alfonso Hernandez, our senior planner, to make the presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Duarte and members of the Planning Commission. Tonight you're being asked to consider a conditional use permit to allow live entertainment.
We cannot hear the audio.
Hello? Hello? Does that work? Hello? Does that work?
No.
No? All right.
I think we need a higher volume on.
How about now? Does that work?
Much better.
A little better.
Good evening, Chairman Duarte and members of the Planning Commission. Tonight you're being asked to consider a conditional use permit to allow live entertainment at an existing restaurant. The applicant is BL Restaurant Operations LLC and the restaurant is Bar Louie. Please be aware that the application was submitted before the start of stay-at-home orders. It is being presented to you today in hopes that the applicant will have the use in place when they are fully functional. This is an aerial of the tenant space outlined in red. It is located at 88 inside of the promenade at Downey. Within close proximity are similar restaurant uses such as Gaucho Grill, The Olive, and Ruby's Diner. The zoning for the property is the Downey Landing Specific Plan. The promenade area of this plan is also referred to as the Tierra Luna Marketplace. To the south of the promenade is the Discovery Sports Complex and Columbia Memorial Space Center. To the east are properties zoned M2. To the north is the Downey Landing Shopping Center, and to the west are R1 zone properties. Background, the Bar Louie tenant space is 5,789 square feet. The business has been in operation since late 2016 and is the first business at that tenant space. The restaurant consists of dining area as well as outdoor patio and bar, and operates with a Type 47 ABC license. Here is a photo of the front of the restaurant. The proposal is for live entertainment only. All other aspects of the business will remain the same. Currently, the restaurant operates Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. The applicant hopes now to include live entertainment Thursday through Sunday from 9 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. The application for live entertainment is slightly different than others we've had in the past. Where others have requested live bands and dancing, this application only proposes DJ, karaoke, and open microphone. The restaurant will continue to operate with a Type 47 alcohol license. The occupancy is 207 people. They plan to have 10 employees at any given time, and 4 security guards will be present when live entertainment is hosted. Here is a floor plan of the business. Outlined in red is where the live entertainment will be stationed. It is to your top right corner. The Development Review Committee met on December 5th, 2019. The police department conditioned a total of 4 security guards be present when the restaurant has live entertainment. At the meeting, no other departments expressed concerns over the proposed use and issued standard conditions of approval. Later, Planning Department did make some changes to our standard normal conditions. Condition number 15 on page 14 of the agenda was added due to the recent coronavirus pandemic. It is an effort for the city and applicant to comply with all current and future state and county mandates. In conclusion, it is staff's opinion that all findings can be made in a positive manner. And with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Is that it? I think you want. Now's the time for questions for staff. Commissioner Owens, do you have any questions for Alfonso?
No questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Spatos?
Couple of questions. Number one, maybe you can enlighten me in regards to a conditional use permit for entertainment. Does that transfer along to any potential future business owners, or is a conditional use permit in this case specific to Bar Louie?
The conditional use permit runs with the land. So if a new property owner came in, or if a new business came in that is a restaurant, they would be entitled to continue that use.
So, for example, if Bar Louie in the future were to sell, sublease, whatever the case may be, this conditional use permit transfers along with any sale or transfer of business. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Commissioner Spatos?
None, thank you.
Vice Chair Fermetta?
I have one question. It's regarding the hours of live entertainment. Is that consistent with any other restaurant that we have given or permit for live entertainment?
It is slightly inconsistent. Typically, what we've done in the recent past, we've approved Thursday through Saturday for the same type of hours. Typically, it's 8 p.m. to 2 or 1:30 or 1:45 rather. On the applicant requested Sunday. They felt that that worked best with their business operations, so it was presented to you that way.
Thank you.
Okay, I have some questions, and one of them had related to what Vice Chair Fermetta stated. Is I think recently we approved a entertainment license sometime last year that Sundays, but on only holiday weekends. Is that? Do we remember which one was that?
Yes, that was for a few of them. Mambo Grill, DB Lounge come to mind.
Okay. So that's the, this would be the only application that any Sunday, not just holiday weekend Sundays, correct?
That's correct.
And then another question I had is, and I just, couldn't hear you. You said that this entertainment license differed a little bit than others. What was the difference?
Yes, it's slightly less intensive. So other live entertainments that we've had in the recent past, they've included live bands and dancing. This one is only for DJ, karaoke, and open microphone.
Okay, so this is no bands and no dancing.
No bands, no dancing.
Okay. And then I think I just had one further question here. In our conditions of approval number 10, I know with the times now with the pandemic and the COVID, is that kind of encompassing that aspect of regulations?
It would definitely tie in, but that is a standard condition we've had that would apply to any general law that would be applicable to that business.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. So 10 specifically, that's a condition. It's a standard condition we've had for the recent past applications we've had. It would also group in any new mandate that comes through because of the pandemic, but it's more of a general for any law that applies to this business. If I could direct you to condition number 15, that one would be more specific to the pandemic that's going on right now.
Okay, that's a good thing. No further questions. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, before we begin the public hearing, I'd like to remind members of the public participating telephonically that the city meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, even if you're participating telephonically. Each speaker shall have 5 minutes to address the commission. Members of the public wishing to address the planning commission regarding the public hearing for item PLN-19-00191 only may now call our teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For those who have submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into record and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. I will now open the public hearing and we start by inviting the applicant to address the commission. Is the applicant available now?
Can you hear me?
Yes. You can
Okay.
state your name and address first.
Yes, my name is Lee Bailey, General Counsel for Bar. Headquarters are located in 4550 Beltway Drive in Addison, Texas, 75001.
Okay. Go ahead. You can tell us what was.
I wanted to defer to Chris Getz to speak about why we're seeking this permit. And I think it's been pointed out that this is not dancing, this is not live music, this is just DJ, an open mic, meaning, you know, karaoke, or someone wants to read poetry. So I just wanted to introduce myself as general counsel. If you have any legal questions, I'm here. But I really wanted to ask Chris Getz, who's on the ground in the field, to speak about why we're seeking this permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Christopher Getz. I'm Director of Operations for Bar Louie. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So just a couple of points that I wanted to point out. Obviously, the permit that we have requested is obviously for inside, and that's how we've used this in the past, and what we want to continue to use this for in terms of karaoke, DJ entertainment, you know, specifically on the weekends or special events, which falls into that Thursday to kind of Sunday category. Obviously, this has been a crucial part of our, you know, this can be a very crucial part of our success. You know, the guests love the events that we can provide, you know, for our guests and the community. Some of the other questions that were put out there was because we're talking about expanding our space as well. So we're talking about expanding our private dining room. We're going to build a PDR, and that won't require any kind of entertainment purposes unless it's something of a special occasion. You know, obviously the PDR that we want to build out there pertaining to this is that, you know, we want to be able to hold meetings such as a chamber meeting, birthdays, anniversaries, etc. So those things would not be required out there. One of the other questions that was brought up, it was in terms of the patio space. So again, the patio space, the DJ again is located in the store. There's no dancing, there's nothing of that. We actually lose tables, so our occupancy doesn't change, and that DJ just stays in a certain part of the restaurant. So in terms of the patio space, we wouldn't require that. It was brought up if we needed an additional CUP for special occasions such as St. Patrick's Day, so on and so forth, we could do those things. And of course, the patio space as existing, we use it for, again, for weddings, for birthdays, for meetings, for paint parties. We've done a lot of these things in the past. So, and again, you know, to sum it up, you know, the permits that we need are just, again, it's another way of us creating an environment for our business and for our guests. And, you know, of course, you know, we plan on being in the city of Downey for a long time. We want to represent the community well and give great experiences for all of our guests.
Okay, great. Was there anybody else from the applicant that would like to speak? Okay. Commissioners, Commissioner Owens, do you have any questions for the applicant?
None at this time, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Spatos?
Yes, a couple questions. Mr. Getz, you had mentioned that you are in the process of building out a PDR. Can you explain what that is?
I can take it if that's okay.
Sure.
Lee Bailey, General Counsel. Sorry, we speak in restaurant slang sometimes.
Okay.
PDR means a private dining room. And I want you to understand that that means we're looking at expanding the property. Even though we're going through coronavirus, this is a very successful store for us. So we unlike the general trend going on right now, we have plans to expand that site. And once we expand that site, we'll ask for an amendment, but it's not really key right now. And just to give you a small, some more flavor about this, when we did not get the permit, we estimate we lost $200,000 worth of sales. So this is very critical, mission critical for us.
Okay. Second question, is this initially part of the business plan when you guys acquired the site to eventually have a CUP to include DJ, live entertainment, and so on? Or was it something that was planned afterwards? Or is it typical that all Bar Louie establishments eventually look towards obtaining a CUP?
So my understanding, and any senior planners or Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, we already had these rights, right? And then we lost it because we didn't, the application didn't get turned in correctly, or there was a hiccup or something happened. But these are already pre-existing rights that we had. And to answer your question about other Bar Louis, we really pride ourselves on being unique and driven by the community. So although one Bar Louie might have one feel with the DJ, another Bar Louie would never have a DJ. We really make it dependent on our communities.
What's the percentage of Bar Louis that currently have live entertainment CUP?
And just again, I know the expression live entertainment in this instance will not include,
Yes.
live music. I honestly could not tell you. Chris, could I defer to you on that question?
Currently, we have 50 stores. And again, in my territory, so I have 7 stores in my territory, in California, Arizona, and Colorado, and Tustin, Northridge, Westgate in Arizona, and that's it. The other stores, they don't function this way. Excuse me, Denver does do live music. That's the only other one. So again, it really depends on the geography and the demographic of what we're dealing with from city to city. And every Bar Louie is completely different. So, if you went to Bar Louie Northridge or you went to Bar Louie in Denver, Colorado, it's a completely different aspect.
Okay. Last question. I read recently under Bar Louie financial reviews that there are several locations that are either being closed, transferred, sold, liquidated. In any case, is there anything currently either under contract or potentially future that may include the Downey store?
And I'd like to take that. Our holding company there's an asset purchase agreement, and we expect to close on the asset purchase agreement at the end of this month. That will have no bearing on Downey, except that we'll have more infusion of cash, and hopefully that will speed up the process of expanding the Downey footprint to have that private dining room where people can celebrate like an anniversary or a graduation or what have you, right? So this is actually a great thing for us, especially in this COVID environment. We're very lucky to find a purchaser.
Great. So there is currently no active negotiation or anything for anything with this store. Is that correct?
The only thing we want to do is expand it. We're here.
Okay, good. That's all for now, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Chair Fermetta?
I have no further questions.
And I do not have any questions, as Commissioner Spatos actually asked the one I had pending. Thank you, Mr. Getz and Ms. Bailey, for your presentation. Now, Secretary Kavanaugh, may I have the first speaker on the phone?
Chair Duarte, we have no public speakers.
Okay. Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have any written public comment on the item PLN-19-00191 to be read into the record?
Chair Duarte, no, we do not.
Okay. We will now close the public hearing. We can now begin a brief deliberation, and we'll take turns asking each commissioner if he has any comments. Commissioner Owens?
Sure, Mr. Chair, thank you. So I'm not concerned about the CUP transferring, into the future should Bar Louie. I'm convinced based on what the representatives had to say in regards to being here and wanting to expand and, doing this under, these very unique and challenging times. I would support this, is where I'm at. To me, the promenade needs a bump. It's not going to mirror downtown Disney, but why not get, some semblance of activities. It might encourage the other operators over there to seek, a same conditional use permit or proposal, in front of us. So I'm fully supportive. That's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Spatos?
I also fully support this. I think it's a great idea. I visited that location. My only concern, and I voiced that early on, and we've seen this in the past with a conditional use permit, and maybe you guys can let me know if this is even a possibility. I just want to make sure, I like Bar Louie. I want to keep them there and extend and add a PDR, as they said, and a private dining room. But in the event of future transfers, I think it's important for us goes in there and this CUP is transferred, that we get the opportunity again to review it and make sure that's what we want there. I don't want this to be a condition and 6 months down the road, business is sold, transferred, whatever the case may be, and we're not in a position to review a conditional use permit. Just thinking out loud there. But I fully support the conditional use permit for Bar Louie. Maybe we can discuss an eventual, if that is the case. I'm just thinking from Downey's perspective in the future, and not in 5 years, but whatever, 20 years down the line. So just a concern.
Commissioners, if I may, this is Aldo Schindler. The CUPs, not just for this site, but for any site, is, run with the land. And so in determining if a CUP is appropriate, you're determining that it's appropriate for the zone that it's in and the use that's there, not the business. And so we can't bring back a CUP based on one business leaving and another one coming. We can bring it back if the future business is not complying with the conditions that were installed with the former business, or we can bring it back if the future business wants to amend it in any way. But we can't bring it back, and not we, municipalities in the state of California can't bring back CUPs because there's been a change in a business. Once again, the role of the Planning Commission is to focus on the zoning and if the use is appropriate for the zoning in that area.
Thank you, Mr. Schindler. Vice Chair Fermetta?
I'm actually supportive of this application, but I do have a question in regards to Sunday. And the reason I have the question for Sunday is because we've been pretty strict with other restaurants on Sundays. If we allow Bar Louie Sunday entertainment, and the hours are longer, would that open the possibility for those other restaurants to also want the same, do the same request when we've actually denied them? Is that a question for Aldo or probably for Yvette?
Mr. Chair, if I may, this is Crystal. In regard to that statement with the Sunday, we're looking at the zoning and we're looking at the location. The other two items, the Mambo Grill and the Club DB Lounge, those are located in the downtown area, which has a closer proximity to residential uses. That's why those were conditioned to allow Sundays only on...
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Okay, is the volume a little better now? Can you...
That's a little better.
Okay. So in regard to the Sunday request, Mambo Grill and Club DB Lounge are located in the downtown Downey area, which is much closer to residential properties than the promenade location is, which is why when staff was evaluating it, the different land use and the different surrounding land uses didn't seem like it would be a problem for this particular location. Approving one application doesn't necessarily set a precedent for all future applications. They're all looked at uniquely based on their location, the conditions that they're proposing, and what the surrounding uses are.
This is based on the location, that it's far away from residencies and so forth.
Correct.
Thank you. No further question.
Okay, my thoughts on this. I think I'm supportive of the project. Kind of just my only thing was kind of what Vice Chair Fermetta stated. is, are we opening up, I want to be consistent with other businesses. And, so Sunday was my concern. I think the distinction for me is the no live dancing and no bands, which is a little different than what typical, I could say, Mama Grill or DB Lounge or just any place in the downtown Downey Pacific plan is. So that makes me feel a little more comfortable that the no dancing and no bands. Because I definitely, I think we are, setting some kind of precedent here in terms of future business owners and other ones that, may want to come and ask for, an amendment to their CUP. But I think the big distinction for me is the no dancing. If there was dancing, I think I would probably be discussing passing this without Sunday, or bans of that nature. And again, the property is a little more unique in the sense that, just like Crystal stated, it's not very close to a residential. I believe, right behind it is the big Cinemark, and, shopping to all boundaries actually of it. So, I feel a little more comfortable on that. I don't know if any other commissioners want to add to the discussion on Sunday, but otherwise I'm supportive of this plan.
I agree.
You agree? Okay.
I just something to mention, Chairman. I also agree with you. I think the fact that that particular location doesn't have a live entertainment to include band and anything else is probably something for them to consider. I think if you're doing it in downtown Downey, I know that we have live entertainers out there on the promenade floor in front of the movie theater with people singing and doing different things. I don't know if it's done with permits or something through the city, but yeah, I think in this particular case, it shouldn't even be a question because it is just DJs. It doesn't include dancing or bands or anything else. So just my thoughts.
Okay.
That's all.
Anyone else? Okay, is there a motion?
A motion to accept the application as presented?
Second.
2 seconds. I'm sorry, can I get a second again?
Who was the second there? I think they were both came at the same time. Secretary Kavanaugh, will you please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Owens,
Yes.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Yes.
Vice Chair Frometta,
Yes.
Chair Duarte,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dominguez is absent. The motion passes to adopt a resolution of approval for PLN 19-00191, request for a conditional use permit. 4 in favor and 1 absent.
Okay, great. Congratulations, Ms. Bailey and Mr. Getz.
Pardon me, Chair. Can I confirm who was the second on that vote? There were 2 of you. Can I confirm one more time?
I don't know. I think we had the coin flip on that one. It came in simultaneous, but I think it was. Let's go with the commission.
I will secede to the senior member of the planning.
Yeah, that's what
Hello, everybody. This is Chris Getz again. And listen, I just want to thank everybody again, once again. Really appreciate it. And again, we're looking forward to being part of the city of Downey for a long, long, long time. And then allow me to get one little shameless plug in, and this is for everybody on the call that certainly in this time and what we're doing right now, and we've obviously had to adjust to a takeout and delivery module, but just know that anybody that works at the city, any first responders, fire, police, certainly we have a nice relationship with our friends at the Kaiser Hospital. We have a Feed the Frontline kind of menu that's there and available for everybody. So I'll make sure that everybody gets that sent out as well. But I just wanted to say thank you very much and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, PLN-19-00162. Director Schindler, can you present the staff member presenting this item?
Thank you, Chair Duarte. Tonight we have our city planner, Crystal Landavazo, making the presentation.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Before you tonight is an application for a site plan review and a zone change to allow the development of a medical office building at 9432 Telegraph Road. The subject site is located on the south side of Telegraph Road in a C2 commercial area surrounded by commercial centers to the north and east, a non-conforming residence to the west, and single-family residential properties to the south. The subject site is located in an area of the C2 zone that is accompanied by a PB parking buffer zone. The PB zone was eliminated from the municipal code in 2008 to reflect new development goals and development standards. The applicant's request tonight will remove the dual zoning from the property and allow the northern 42 feet of the property to be designated as C2. The subject site was previously occupied by a non-conforming residence and 2 commercial buildings utilized as a car dealership. The subject site previously consisted of 2 separate lots that were consolidated in 2019, and the structures were demolished in conjunction with that application. In addition to the zone change, the proposal before you tonight is a site plan review for a new medical office building. A site plan review as required by the municipal code is an application that requires review of a project for compliance with design, development standards, and land use. Is proposing a modern architectural design with modulation and glass features incorporated into the facade. The proposed project consists of a 2-story, 7,788 square foot building with 39 parking spaces, 8 bicycle spaces, and over 3,600 square feet of landscaping. The proposed medical office use is a permitted use in the C2 zone, so the project is compliant with design, development, and land use standards. As we look at the site plan shown for you, the second floor will consist of 6,520 square feet, while the first floor will consist of 1,268 square feet, resulting in a majority of the second floor creating a covered parking area. The front setback will start at the required 15-foot setback on the northeast corner, and due to the nature of the angle of that street, as you move west on the property, it will increase to about a 25-foot front yard setback. The subject site will be provided with 17 drought-tolerant trees, along with a variety of shrubs and vines to create a tiered landscape system throughout the property. The project was presented to the Development Review Committee, who generated the following comments that are shown on your screen. Fireplace conditions regarding the size of the elevator to ensure room for a gurney and 3 EMTs. A Knox box was required for emergency access, and the building was required to be fully equipped with sprinklers. The police department required that the addressing on the building be highly visible in a contrasting color. Public Works required that conditions be provided to ensure driveway approach would meet current standards, and all permits would be obtained. All of these items were included as conditions to the resolution before you tonight. And this concludes staff's report. I am available for any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now, any questions, Commissioner Owens?
No questions, Mr. Duarte.
Commissioner Spatos?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Vice Chair Fermetta?
No question.
And I have none. Thank you very much, Crystal, for the presentation. Now, again, before we begin the public hearing, I'd like to remind members again, of the public participating telephonically. The city meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, distributes, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, even if you're participating telephonically. Each speaker shall have 5 minutes to address the commission. Members of the public wishing to address the planning commission regarding the public hearing for item PLN-19-00162 only may now call our teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For those who have submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the public record and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. I will now open the public hearing and we'll start by inviting the applicant to address the commission. And just please state your name and address for the record. Do we have the applicant there?
Mr. Liggett, you need to unmute your yourself.
There, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm Blair Liggett with Blair Design Group, Laguna Beach, California, 92651.
Okay, Mr. Liggett, please, what would you like to tell us about the project?
Dr. Tran has been in practice since 2002. Has established a successful practice since 2014 in the city of Downey. As you're probably aware, she's had many options and incentives to build and develop in other cities and towns, but her desire is the city of Downey. I believe in this project, and we look forward to the city hopefully approve us.
Okay. Commissioner Owens, do you have any questions for applicant?
I do not, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Spatos?
Yeah, is she currently operating out of that location right now?
No, she's in city of Downey, that she's been practicing, like I said, since 2014. She'll be practicing there until this is developed.
That's all. Thank you.
Vice Chair Fermetta?
I would just like to know what type of practice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you say your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Dr. Tran, Minu Tran. I currently practice at 8317 Davis Street in Downey. And I'm currently an endocrinologist, which not a lot of people know the title, but my job is to take care of hormones, and the majority of my practice are complicated diabetic patients, which we have a lot of.
We do. Thank you.
Okay, great. And I have no questions for the applicant. Thank you. Secretary Kavanaugh may have the first speaker on the phone.
We have no public comment phone calls.
Somebody that was on there from television.
Okay. Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have any written public comment on the item?
I apologize, Chair Duarte. It appears we may have someone. Here we go. Let me double check. They may have disconnected.
But let's make sure we collect them. Yeah.
Thank you. There we go. Okay. Speaker, please state your name. You have 5 minutes. Your time begins now.
Yes, I'm Robert Arana, City of Downey resident. My address is 9424 Telegraph Road. And I just have two questions. How is the property going to get hooked up to the sewer line?
Yeah, can you repeat that, Mr. Aranda?
Yes, sir. How is how are you going to hook up to the sewer line? How is that planned?
I think you said sewer, something about a sewer?
Yeah, it's not in a sewer, so how is that property hooked up to the sewer line?
Chair Duarte, if I may, this is Crystal, the city planner.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal.
Sure, I apologize, I stepped away. That's correct. The subject site used to be on a septic tank system. They were recently connected to the city sewer system. In anticipation of the project moving forward, they, at their own risk, worked with the Public Works Department to pull permits and have that connection fed into the property before the city did a repaving along Telegraph Road.
Okay, so they're gonna shoot a line across Telegraph and hook up on that side of the street?
That's correct. They're connected through Telegraph.
Okay. My second question is, I live on the west side of the property in a residential house. I believe there's gonna be a masonry wall on the left side of the property. I was like to request, instead of 6 feet, a 7-foot wall for the privacy of my house.
Okay, it's noted, and when the commission begins deliberation, that'll be an item that they can discuss.
Oh, say that again?
Your request for a revision from a 6-foot to a 7-foot wall along the western property line was
Yes.
noted. Right now, we're in public comment, so if you had anything else to share, you can share that with us. After public comment is closed, the commission will deliberate and they'll consider this along with any other items that are raised.
I understand. Okay, nothing else from myself.
All right, thank you, Mr. Aranda.
Thank you.
Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have any other speakers on the phone?
Yes, we do. It'll be just one moment, sir. Public speaker, are you there?
Yes.
You have 5 minutes. Please state your name. Time begins now.
My name is Isabel Bañuelos, and I live in 9435 Cedar Tree Road, directly behind this proposal. And my question is if the wall on the south side would be 6 feet or 7 feet tall.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Chair,
if I heard correctly, she's asking if it's going to be a 6-foot or 7-foot wall?
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chair, the current proposal is for a 6-foot high wall, 6 feet.
Any other
Sorry,
comment?
could you repeat that?
The current proposal shows a 6-foot wall along the rear property line.
Oh, okay. Are there any plans or possibilities to raise it to 7 feet?
We will take your comment and the commission can deliberate that after all of the public comments are received. But we've noted your request for 7 feet instead of 6 feet on the rear property.
Thank you so much.
Any further comment?
No, that is all. Thank you.
Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have anybody else on the phone?
We may have one more. Bear with me one moment, Chair. They need to put it on hold so I can pick it up. It looks like the last caller hung up. We have no more calls.
Okay. Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have any written public comment on item PLN-19-00162 to be read into the record?
No written comments, Chair.
Okay, we will now close the public hearing. This is the time of deliberation. We'll take turns asking the commissioners if they have any comments. Commissioner Owens?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll start off, I know you've closed the public comment, but maybe Dr. Tran could enlighten or give us kind of the hours of her practice at the moment. And will those hours be the intended hours of operation should we approve, the new proposal, the new site?
Yes, thank you very much. The hours of operation from Monday through Friday, between 7 a.m. to about 6 p.m. So the heavy traffic hours, or the hours that patients will actually arrive, starts from 7:30 until about 1 o'clock. Then we will have a break for lunch around 1 to 2, and the patients will start coming in again between 2, and the last patient should leave around 5:30, 5:45. I am not planning to open on the weekends at the moment, but that is a future possibility that I will open also on a Saturday half day.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tran. Additionally, I noticed it's a beautiful building in the rendering that I see. Will you occupy, I mean, it's probably hard to say, but will you occupy the entire space, or will you look to be leasing out?
No, I will occupy about 55 to 60% of the building, and I will then lease it out. And the renters, I'm also looking for medical related services, such as another physician practice, preferably.
Okay, and then one additional comment, again, this is all into the future. They would probably operate generally around the same hours, open for business generally around the same hours that you're open?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tran.
Okay. Commissioner Spatos?
No questions, thank you.
Vice Chair Fermetta?
Commissioner Owens asked us the questions that I had planned to ask, so I have no further questions.
Yeah, I guess my only comment, we can speak about that. I don't know if we have to bring the applicant back for that or not. Was just I know we had 2 residents asking for, looks like a 7-foot wall as opposed to a 6-foot wall. Just wanted to open that up to the commissioners. If you had any thoughts on that.
I actually wanted to ask, I'm glad you brought that up. Do we have 7-foot walls in any other areas of the city of Downey per the code? Does the code allow anything above 6?
Yes, the code does allow up to a 7-foot tall wall in many zones throughout the city, commercial and residential.
Okay.
You said up to 7, Crystal?
Correct.
And that was kind of the basis for my questions of the doctor in regards to the comments by both residents. Hours of operation via, equaling disruption to their, personal space and their pursuit of, their own happiness. 7-foot wall sounds like it could mitigate a whole lot of that if that was a concern. And the hours of operation pretty much supported that the noise potentially goes away at 6 p.m. if there is noise.
Commissioner Spatos, you have any comments?
I think that's a great idea. I would support approving this subject to a 7-foot wall. Also, I didn't see in the rendering landscaping as far as anything being included on that rear property line to create a noise buffer. That might be an option also, but yeah, I like Commissioner Owens' idea. Another foot, I'm sure won't increase the cost significantly, and it might be able to bring some enjoyment to property owners at the back or homeowners or whoever else lives near the area.
I too don't have a issue allowing a 7-foot wall.
It sounds like we might have a consensus for a 7-foot wall. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yes.
City Attorney Garcia, is that, do we have to reopen that to the applicant to ask him for about the 7-foot wall?
It's commission discretion.
Can you hear me?
We couldn't hear you.
That would be up to the commission. If you'd like to ask the applicant, reopen and ask the applicant if 7-foot wall would be acceptable to them, you can do that.
Okay, I'd like to, I guess at this point, just reopen it to the applicant, our hearing. You've heard the concerns of the residents and our little deliberation here. The 7-foot wall, any issues with that? Mr. Liggett, maybe you want to chime in? Do you have to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'd like to elaborate that. So, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we want to make our neighbors happy and the city of Downey happy. I've been developing for 25 years. We took a lot of time in studying this and in respecting our neighbors, especially the residential neighbors. There's a 46-foot setback that we're back. We're way lower than the building height limits. And there are landscape plans included, which there's a lot of trees on that back side that the Planning Commission required us to. And so if it's a matter of getting it approved where it goes 7 feet, absolutely. But we would be willing to talk with some neighbors, even providing some renderings from their actual area that they're looking at to show them that just a 7-foot masonry wall might not look as pretty as the 6-foot wall with the beautiful green trees that are there now, and it won't make a difference. So we'd be willing to, if that's an option, to at least show a rendering from their view, from whichever one's concerned, and let them make the decision. If they say, oh, okay, yeah, still 7 feet, absolutely, but maybe have that option that we can present that.
Commissioner Duarte, I have a question. I'm wondering, the resident that called in, what their concern was. Was it noise or is it security? I am not, on that part, I'm not sure.
At that point, I couldn't speculate either. I know it was Mr. Aranda and forgetting the second person that called. I would just be speculating at this point. But it sounds like it's not a deal breaker. I did see in the landscaping, there are a lot of trees and there is a big setback. At this point, it would be, it seems like a foot of trees or no trees in terms of visibility.
Right.
So that we can kind of discuss a little further. And I will, at this point, close the public hearing again. And I don't think, Secretary Kavanaugh, we don't have anybody still on the phone for that?
Chair Duarte, we do not have any calls for public comments.
Okay. So at this point, I'll close it, and we could deliberate again now. See if that's what we want to do. Do you want to do the 6-foot wall, 7-foot wall? Do you want to, approve the project? So feel free to chime in, anybody.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment. So with Mr. Liggett's proposal, as of late, maybe we can defer to the attorney. Does that stop tonight's proposal? That we have to go back and tell Mr., basically tell the applicant through the representative along with Ms. Tran, that they have to go back and survey and then reintroduce the proposal to us? Is that where we are? Or can we just condition it accordingly? If it's 6 proposed and we say 7, it's a done deal without considering Mr. Liggett's option.
That's kind of what I believe, but let's hear from the city attorney, Ms. Garcia.
Commissioners, you are free to change that condition from 6 feet to 7 feet if that is your desire. You don't need to survey it or bring it back. I don't think that's necessary. You can just consider changing the requirement tonight.
Were you able to hear that? Were you able to hear that, Chair?
I wasn't able to hear everything. I think I heard partly. Some of it is.
I think she said we could approve it with that condition, including to make it a 7-foot wall. I would, reconsider. We don't want to hold up my opinion is hold up the applicant for a foot of wall. It's a good idea to keep, the neighbors happy. However, this is an office. It's not a retail. It's not a burger joint. It's, offices. They're there at 7. They're done at 6. I think as a commission, we should consider the type of business this is. It's a professional medical office. So something to consider. I don't think a foot is a big difference. I think we shouldn't delay this. I think we should approve it. But again, I think it's up for discussion. A foot is not a huge difference, but I wouldn't, subject the applicant to further, plans or anything else in order to approve this.
And I'm in agreement with Jamie Spato's comments. I don't think we should delay the applicant. I believe the applicant should be able to build a minimum of a 6-foot wall. And if she has conversations with her neighbors and she decides to build a 7-foot wall, that she should be able to build a 7-foot wall.
Okay, do we have a motion with any amendment or just a motion as is?
I'll motion it as is.
I second it.
May I clarify the second? Was that Vice Chair Frometta?
That's correct.
Thank you. The motion passes.
No.
I apologize. The vote. I will take your vote now.
Roll call.
Chair Duarte.
Yes.
Vice Chair Frometta.
Yes.
Commissioner Spathopoulos.
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes.
And Commissioner Dominguez is absent. It was moved by Commissioner Spathopoulos, seconded by Commissioner Frometta. The motion passes by a vote of 4 in favor and Commissioner Dominguez absent to approve PLN 19-00162.
Congratulations, and Mr. Liggett. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope the project will be a beginning of many renovations in that part of Telegraph to come to elevate the cosmetic of the Downey community right there. And of course, bring in more business and just to help profit the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I would just like to again thank you, City Council and the City of Downey Planning for helping us achieve this development. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to developing a beautiful building for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now moving on. Now's the time for non-agenda public comments. Before we begin with the non-agenda public comment period, I'd like to remind members of the public participating telephonically that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the order.
Oops. Shoot.
Mary?
Yes. Yeah, I was going to the projector and it changed. But it's not muted.
Teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For those who submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the record and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. Secretary Kavanaugh, may I have the first speaker on the phone?
Mr. Chair, I apologize. We had a little bit of a technical issue on our end. If we can have you read the starting from non-agenda public comment again, we blanked out during that portion.
Sure. Before we begin the non-agenda public comment period, I'd like to remind members of the public participating telephonically that the city meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, even if you're participating telephonically. Each speaker shall have 5 minutes to address the commission on issues that are within the commission's jurisdiction. Members of the public wishing to address the planning commission regarding non-agenda public comments only may now call our teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For those who submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the public record and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. Secretary Kavanaugh, may I have the first speaker on the phone?
Chair Duarte, there are no calls for public comments.
Okay. Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have any written public comment on non-agenda items to be read into the record?
Yes, we do. We have an email from Karen Osorio. It was received Friday, May 15th, 2020 at 3:08 p.m. The subject is legalized cannabis activity in the city of Downey opportunities. Make medical and adult use cannabis safe and legally available to residents in the city of Downey. Will provide tax revenue for the city and a safe market for patients and customers to obtain cannabis during these high anxiety times of world pandemic. Do not isolate Downey further from the world and other cities that voted for their right to legalize the use and marketing sales of healthy, safe methods of procuring cannabis via stringent ordinances, standards, and guidelines toward obtaining and maintaining permits and licensing for retail, delivery, and/or manufacturing of cannabis for our residents. In turn, improving immediate community by providing individuals opportunity to become business owners, providing a vital service, paying taxes, and employing our local residents, veterans, minorities, or at-risk individuals. Training and OSHA advancements included. Thank you kindly for your consideration, Karen Osorio. And that is the end.
Okay, we will now close the non-agenda public comments. Going into the consent calendar, items in this section will be voted on in one motion unless commissioner or citizen requests separate actions. Anyone wishing to discuss a consent calendar item should be recognized by the chairman, state name, address, and agenda item. Further, any consent calendar items will be removed from the agenda, will be considered by the commission following the public hearing items. Before we begin the consent calendar comment period, I'd like to again remind members of the public participating telephonically that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, even if you're participating telephonically. Each speaker shall have 5 minutes to address the commission on consent calendar items only. Members of the public wishing to address the planning commission regarding consent items only may now call our teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For For those who submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the record and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. Secretary Kavanaugh, may I have the first speaker on the phone?
There are no callers, Chair Duarte.
No callers? Okay. Secretary Kavanaugh, do we have a written public comment on consent calendar items to be read into the record?
There are no written comments, Chair.
Okay, no.
So Chairman Duarte, I don't see how we could make a motion that would cover all the items on the consent calendar. I bring this up because I'll recuse myself from approving minutes of March 4 as I was not in attendance.
Yeah, you're correct, Commissioner Owens. We don't have a quorum for item 6, and in terms of item 3, we do have a quorum, but Commissioner Fermetta, I believe, was not present, so I think he'd be abstaining for that. So as of right now, I think we have a motion maybe to table the item number 6 for a future hearing.
I'll make a motion to table item number 6 for a future hearing.
And I will second that.
Commissioners, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mary.
Go ahead. You want to vote? Okay.
Or
Okay.
maybe not.
I will take a vote for continuing number 6 of the consent calendar for the approval of the minutes for March 4th, 2020. It was March 4th that we're removing, isn't
March
it?
4th.
That's the lack of quorum.
Do we want to do it that way, or is there
No, that's
a
okay.
better way?
There was a motion and a second to continue item number 6 minutes
Let's
for March
just go
4th.
through them, I think.
So,
I think
roll
you can
call.
do 2 together, right?
We're gonna take the
Can we do
numbers.
4 and 5? Or
You could probably do 3 and 4.
Hold on for a sec. There was a motion and a second to continue or table item number 6, which is the approval of the minutes of March 4th. You got a motion and a second. We're gonna do roll call vote. Get that out of the way.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Chair Duarte,
Yes.
Vice Chair Fermetta,
Yes.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
yes.
Commissioner Owens,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dominguez is absent. The motion passes to continue to the next public hearing to pull item number 6 for the minutes of March 4th, 2020, with Commissioner Owens first and Chair Duarte second.
Okay, so commissioners, for the remainder of the consent calendar, you can make a motion to approve 3, 4, and 5, noting Commissioner Fermetta has to abstain for item number 3. You can make that motion to approve all 3 with Fermetta abstaining on number 3.
I'll motion to approve items 3, 4, 5 in one motion.
A second.
May I confirm the second was Commissioner Spathopoulos?
That's correct.
Okay. It was moved by Commissioner Owens, seconded by Commissioner Spathopoulos, to approve the remaining items of the consent calendars, 3, 4, and 5, with Commissioner Fermetta abstaining from item number 3. From item number 3.
That's correct.
Chair Duarte,
Yes.
Commissioner Fermetta,
Yes.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Yes.
Commissioner Owens,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dominguez is absent. The motion passes with 4 in favor and Commissioner Dominguez absent.
Okay. Going on to other business. Does any commissioner have any other business they'd like to bring to attention right now?
No, I have none.
Commissioner Spatos?
None, thank you.
Commissioner Owens?
None. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have one comment. I don't know if this is for Public Works or, Aldo or not. Going through the Lakewood past the north side of In-N-Out, there's about a couple residents there where the yards have gotten like with weed or grass about like 2-3 feet. Just wanted to see, maybe point that out to, I don't know if that's public works or code enforcement in terms of those homes are just north of the In and Out on Lakewood and Firestone.
Thank you, Chairman Duarte, for that heads up. Yes, we actually conducted a corridor drive today, and a lot of the properties on our major corridors were flagged generally for landscape maintenance and other trash and debris. We also saw some furniture that was being piled in some areas. So we are going to contact those folks. We've approached it with a lot of empathy in terms of these times, but some of the properties, once again, can't go without being addressed, and we're definitely going to do so. Thanks again.
Okay. Now, staff member comments. Director Schindler, do you have any staff comments?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Duarte. First of all, I want to thank the commissioners for your patience and for your participation tonight. This was our first meeting during the pandemic, and it did take a lot of work to get to this point. I want to thank you for the mock meeting that you folks attended last week as well. It does take a team effort to do this. If you're interested in terms of updates, what's happening in Downey in regards to our COVID-19 situation, please visit our city's website. We have a tremendous amount of information on that COVID-19 link that immediately flashes on the display of our home site. Also, as corny as it sounds, follow us on Facebook. A lot of those updates are blasted through our Facebook page as well. Some items to note, we have been busy during these pandemic times. We were able to secure the American Inn as an off-site housing option for our first responders if they thought they were exposed to the COVID-19 virus and didn't want to go home. Luckily, and we knock on wood that we haven't had to use it, but we consider it to be a huge resource for our first responders. Also, some other items to note, Parks and Rec have been extremely busy, even though the parks have been closed and or operating at a much lower capacity. They've delivered 1,426 senior meals, and that includes a tremendous amount of home deliveries. They've conducted 760 wellness phone checks to our seniors, and they also make visits when seniors don't pick up the phone. They also were able to obtain a grant from Kaiser Permanente, and that's for an exercise at home program, as their services will go virtual as well. So just wanted to give you an update in terms of the different activity that's happening now, and that concludes my update.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody, all staff, for the work you've been doing during this pandemic, and thank everybody out there who participated, had patience. This is our first time having a Zoom meeting, so thank you everybody, the commissioners, staff, and the public, in terms of having patience with us today. So with that, no further items. I will adjourn the meeting at 8:08.
Thank you, everyone.